Special edition.
A very good evening. You're watching the Newshour special edition with me, Kritsween Walia. Well, viewers, from 2014 to 2019, the NDA government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in its first term claimed to be working on the motto of sabka saath, sabka vikas. In 2019, soon after he was elected the leader of BJP Parliamentary Party, the Prime Minister rephrased the slogan to sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwaas. He wrote this vision in the joint session of the US Congress as well during his recent visit to the United States. And the same vision was witnessed during his two-day visit to Egypt, which he concluded just today. During the Egypt leg of his two-nation tour, not only did Prime Minister Modi usher a new era of India-Egypt ties, but also walk the talk on sabka saath. He met Egypt's Grand Mufti, Sauki Ibrahim Abdel Karim Alam, visited the 1,000-year-old Al-Hakim Mosque and strengthened ties with Dawoodi Bohra Muslim community once again. The Prime Minister's connect with the Dawoodi Bohra community, remember, goes back several years to when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And in a clear message to the world, once again, the Mufti hailed Prime Minister's leadership in fostering pluralism and inclusivity. The meeting between the Prime Minister and the Grand Mufti comes a month after the latter visited India and hailed Prime Minister Modi's leadership in ensuring communal harmony.
Today I was honored, a lot to meet His Excellency Prime Minister Modi, and it was a very nice and interesting meeting. In fact, actually he reflects the wise leadership. And for a big country like India, our meeting today is actually our second interaction, as we have met earlier in Delhi in one of the Sufi conferences there. And between the two meetings, I have noticed that there is a great development in India. And also this reflects that he is always and continuously working there in India. And also it reflects that the wise policies that are being adopted by Prime Minister Modi in bringing coexistence between the various factions.
The outreach comes close on the heels of the opposition's attack on the centre over minorities. Remember, the opposition had mocked the Prime Minister after a journalist during the joint press conference in the United States asked the Prime Minister about safety of minorities in India. A month ago as well, it was Rahul Gandhi who had claimed in the United States that minorities were not safe in our country. Before we play out more reactions coming in, because the BJP, of course, has retaliated, retorted, we quickly open this up and welcome Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, who is with me in the studio. Shalini Ali, national convener, Muslim Rashtriya Manch. We also have Kamruzzaman Chaudhary, leader of the Congress party, and political analyst and activist Saira Shah Alim is also with us, completes the panel. My first question, though, is to Mr. Kamruzzaman Chaudhary, because we've heard it from Rahul Gandhi in the United States, but we've also, Mr. Chaudhary, heard it from the United States President Joe Biden and now from Grand Mufti as well. Yet the opposition continues to say minorities are not safe in India. Why?
Well, I'm talking about not those minorities whose names are sounding Urdu, but who might not represent the majority of the minority community in India. It's no secret that Muslims in India encounter barriers to achieving political power and wealth. More often, they are subjected or they struggle to secure justice after suffering discrimination or despite constitutional protections. Even you see, after 2019, the representation of Muslims in parliament has stagnated. After the 2019 elections, Muslims hold just 5% of the seats and 0 MPs from the ruling party of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Point number one. Now, if you go by some 2019 report of the Common Cause, a non-governmental organization, you can see a very simple example of the half of the police who have been surveyed shows anti-Muslim bias, making them less likely to intervene to stop crimes against Muslims. Now, why are we so much pessimistic about the present Bharatiya Janata government in India right now? You know, the situation that India is in, Modi's India rather, I can say, was that if you are a Muslim, you are liable to be attacked anywhere and any time. This is not a particular cases of some vigilante groups going about in imposing love jihad laws or imposing cow slaughter laws or imposing hijab ban. It's not like that. You know, the state is complicit in this discrimination process. You know, the triple talaq bill was passed just to criminalize the Muslims in India. You have got the UCC coming up. Why the UCC is being brought up?
Okay.
Just with the complete one single agenda to teach the Muslims.
I'm sure Shehzad looks at the triple talaq being brought in with in a very different light. Also, Mr. Chaudhary, since you're pointing out the several things that are not being done to favor the minority community, it would be nice for a change to also highlight what all has been done by the Modi government for the very community that you're talking about, that apparently is under threat in our country. But Shehzad, take it away, because the BJP keeps saying that there are several welfare schemes that focus on the minority community. You have so many leaders from the Dawoodi Bohra community hail the Prime Minister. Grand Mufti said what he said in India, reiterated once again when the Prime Minister was in Egypt, but all that doesn't matter.
Now, I hope Mr. Zaman Chaudhary won't interrupt me. Are Muslims safer in India? Yes, because now, Mr. Chaudhary, please give me the due respect I gave you. 1969, Ahmedabad riots, 512 Muslims killed. Jalgaon, 100 killed. 1980, Moradabad, 1500. 1983, Delhi, 3000 killed. 1984 was against the Sikhs. 1984, Bhiwandi, 146. 1990, Hyderabad, 365. 1992, Surat, 152. 1993, Mumbai, 1000. And 2013, Muzaffarnagar, 150 Muslims killed. None of these big riots have repeated. So yes, Muslims are actually safer. But let me tell you, Mr. Zaman Chaudhary is factually wrong. There is a Muslim MP called Ghulam Ali Khatana. Because he belongs to the Pasmanda Samaj or the Gujar Samaj, perhaps you did not register that. As far as the representation of Muslims are concerned in Parliament, right from 1952 to 2004, the Muslim population has been 14%, but never in the history of India's Lok Sabha has been commensurate to the population. So are you suggesting that Mr. Nehru, Indira Gandhi, all the Congress governments were also against Muslims? Because it has never been 14% of Parliament or Lok Sabha MPs who have been Muslims. But let me tell you, since you said about the police bias, do you know that the first Muslim IB director, which was made under the UPA2, you know, when the government comes to power, usually they change the IB director. Asif Ibrahim was continued as the IB director under Modi government. If there was a bias against Muslims, why would he be continued? The first Muslim president, by the way, one of the most respected presidents of India, by the way, APJ Abdul Kalam, was made by the NDA, and who denied him a second term? It was the UPA. By the way, let me also tell you that under Mr. Modi, 70% dropout rate of Muslim girls has come down to 30%. Is that not working for Muslims? All the schemes of welfare, whether it's PM Awas, PM Kisan Yojana, PM Nal Se Jal Yojana, whether it is the Yojanas to provide toilets, to provide Ujjwala cylinders, have 40 to 50% proportion of SC, STs, OBCs and Muslims. And by the way, the UPA2 gave 2.94 crore scholarships to Muslims. 3.14 crore scholarships were given by NDA1 under Mr. Modi. So where is the bias or the discrimination? But let me tell you what this is against. This is not against Muslims. It's actually against Muslims vote bank ki rajniti, which these people have been doing. Otherwise, tell me, Mr. Kamruzzaman Chaudhary.
Interesting. You're saying vote bank ki rajniti. Is the Congress not resorting to vote bank ki rajniti? Do we not see Congress leaders, Mr. Chaudhary, time and again go ahead with temple visits only in election season? Do they not try and play the soft Hindutva card?
Kritsween, let me just summarize one very important point which I wanted to make. It will just take 20 seconds. Kritsween, if I could just take 20 seconds.
Mr. Chaudhary,
you know, this is actually about the propaganda and Danga Ka alliance, PDA alliance. Let me tell you, if the situation of Muslims was so volatile in India as is being claimed, please tell me, today the Egyptians have given the highest civilian honor. Egypt is where the Al-Azhar University, which is the foremost university for Muslim thought process, resides, and the Grand Mufti has endorsed Mr. Modi. Apart from Egypt, who has endorsed Mr. Modi? Saudi Arabia, which is the most pious state for Muslims because Makkah Medina resides there. The most prosperous Muslim country is UAE and Bahrain, and the most emotionally charged Muslim country, Palestine, the most conservative Muslim country, Afghanistan. All of them have handed over their highest civilian honors to Narendra Modi. So how can he be anti-Muslim?
6 Islamic nations, Shalini Ali.
Actually 7 now.
Can I reply? Am I audible?
All of them, including Egypt in the latest, conferring Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Order of Nile. Now, we don't have to get into what these honors mean, what these awards mean. It's for everyone to see, it's for everyone to read up. You can quickly, Mr. Chaudhary, go and see what it really means for a country to be awarding this kind of a reward or an award to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 6, and with Egypt, it's going to be 7 now. Shalini Ali, what is it that the world is able to acknowledge and recognize, but opposition parties in India are failing to do so?
You'll get a chance to reply, Mr. Chaudhary. It's my turn to speak. As a matter of fact, whatever Mr. Poonawala has said, I totally endorse it. It's not because he's a BJPite, but because you, as it is, know that I'm a social worker. I am working with Muslim Rashtriya Manch. We are working for the Alpsankhyak. We are working for the minorities. And time and again, whenever there has been some kind of a controversy, I've been on the field. And when I speak to the Aam Janta, they don't believe in any of the controversies, whether they are in international waters or whether they are in national waters. Whether it's the hijab issue, whether it is the cutting down of the funds for the minorities, whether it has been anything. We have seen over there, even if when it was the bulldozer Baba, whereas people had made a big hue and cry that, you know, bulldozers are being run over Muslims and on the minorities, we have seen it time and again that the people of India and internationally also, Mr. Modi has been a project of peace for the Indians all over the world. Firstly. Secondly, when he's gone to Egypt, Egypt is not the first country which has given him the highest civilian order, the reward or the prize for it. He doesn't get a reward. He doesn't get an award. He just is named as the highest civilian in these countries where the Shariat law is being followed. Mind you, where countries which are following the Shariat law, a democratic country, India is the largest democratic country in the world, is going and being projected and getting an award as the highest civilian, it's a big deal. Whether you talk about US, whether you talk about Egypt, whether you talk about UAE, whether you talk about anywhere, PM Modi has gone ahead and is making a move to join hands with each and every minority and minorities within the minorities. Now, if you know, there are sects in the Muslims itself which are fighting amongst each other. There is a need to reach out to each and every one of them. And he has done. Whether in our country there have been the 15 Sutriya Karyakram, whether it has been the Awas Yojana, whether it has been the Ujla Yojana, whether it has been empowering girls, whether it has been making a point to the girls that they are safe in the city, in the streets, in the villages. I mean, come on, you've had VCs, vice chancellors that have been women vice chancellors that have come in, Osmania University in Hyderabad.
And for that matter, Shalini Ali, he's also directed the BJP Karyakartas to adopt the same strategy. The national executive meeting that took place earlier in the year,
why not?
Saira Shah Alim, he said it in as many words. He said that we must reach out to the minority communities.
Whether it is anyone working on the ground is moving ahead to join hands so that the government, so that the policies that the government is bringing in goes in each and every house. Forget about minority. Have you forgotten about COVID? Have you forgotten about
and yet it's not cutting any ice with the opposition. Is it just a route to take down the BJP? It's just a narrative that the opposition is resorting to without any true merit, really, Saira Shah Alim, because you know, Shalini pointed out the bulldozer action as well, but interestingly, Uttar Pradesh is one such state that has allocated maximum funds for reforming madrasas. So where are the facts in these claims that are being made by the opposition every now and then?
It's never too late. I would like to say it's never
so all I will, yeah, so thank you so much. Can I talk
I'll come
now?
back to you, Saira.
Yeah, it's my turn to talk. So what I'm saying is now Modi ji's outreach towards, can you please tell her to keep quiet or she wants to talk?
Saira, go ahead. Nobody's saying anything. You have your uninterrupted time. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So Modi ji's outreach towards Muslims, now we need to see that the rhetoric is met with action. We have seen how under Modi ji's rule, how there was vigilant attacks against Muslims accused of killing or transporting cows for slaughter or simply eating beef, chiefly in states governed by the ruling party. And here we've also seen how anybody who's been accused of transporting cows or slaughter or eating beef, they've been attacked relentlessly. And we also need to understand that why a large minority community in India has the fears towards the BJP rule is not unfounded. We have seen how the shadow of 2002 Gujarat riots still lurks over the BJP regime. And here we need to understand
the same question is going to be asked to the opposition. For example, as far as the cow slaughter issue is concerned, the BJP was quick to question the Congress. They were leveling the appeasement charge against the Congress. Why are you wanting to appease one particular community and wanting to take back the anti-cow slaughter law?
Here, Okay, can we deny that interfaith couples have been harassed and in the name of this perpetrated love jihad? Can we deny
Can we
the
also
fact
deny that
books
forced
have been
conversions have
revised
happened?
to do away with Muslim rulers
Shehzad
and
wants
also
to come in.
demonize
Shehzad wants to
Muslim
respond
rulers?
to the couple of
Can we
points you've
also
made.
deny
Sarah,
that
you may go ahead. You may go ahead. Let him quickly respond to the couple of the few points that you've made already.
Respond. If I'm allowed to finish. No, because
You
my
spoke
talk
about cow slaughter. Sarah, you spoke about cow slaughter. You spoke about love jihad.
So what I'm saying is,
have an alternative view.
anti-Muslim venom has been spewed upon. And here we see that there's a deliberate portrayal of Muslims as terrorists, as radicals in films that is being promoted by the Bharatiya Janata Party. And can we also deny that there's been an increase, if you look at the analysis of violence, right from 2010 to 2017.
The films that you're talking about,
and especially
the films that you're talking about, Saira, the films that you're talking about, at the National Executive Meet itself, the Prime Minister, in fact, spoke about, rather directed all the Karyakartas of the BJP to not resort to that kind of a strategy to go about films they oppose. He said it in as many words, but let Shehzad come in. Saira, I'll come back to you in a bit.
Using provocatory language.
Okay.
Can we deny that BJP leaders have...
Let me now address one by one what Saira Shah Alim has tried to say.
Muslims, can we deny that?
Saira, now may I
I'll
please come in?
I'll come back to you. A couple of points you made, let him respond. Let's hear from the BJP.
Let's take this clinically and address each point made by Saira Shah Alim one by one. First, she spoke about vigilantes targeting Muslims. I read out a list of 10 riots that took place under the UPA and Congress's watch where 10,000 Muslims were massacred. Please tell me, Saira Shah Alim, what have you done about this? None of them secured justice. The Gujarat riots was the only place where justice was given. But in the Mumbai riots, where you accused the Uddhav Sena, today the left was seen sharing a stage with the same Uddhav Sena in Patna. Secondly, you are talking about Muslim rights and anti-Muslim rhetoric. Here is Sanjay Raut saying that the rights of Muslims voting rights of Muslims should be revoked. The Congress and the left both were in alliance with him in Patna just 2 days ago. What about that? But you will not answer about that. Now let me come to a more substantive point. Now please don't interrupt. Now please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. You can answer it, but in your own turn. You can answer it, but in your own turn. You can answer it, but in your own turn. You don't need to silence me if you have strength in your argument.
Mr. Chaudhary,
you can make them in your own turn.
We don't have too much
you
time.
can make them in your own turn.
We'll go one by one quickly. Shehzad, quickly make
The
your point.
fact of the matter is that the Sachar Committee report, no less, says that the condition of Muslims in Gujarat far better than the condition of Muslims in Bengal. For instance, the population of Muslims in Bengal is 25%, but their participation in public sector was 1.5%, whereas in Gujarat the population was 9%, but their participation in higher posts of public sector was 16%. So who's discriminating against the Muslims? And let me tell you, who awarded the Bharat Ratna to Ustad Bismillah Khan? NDA government. Who was the one which named after Veer Abdul Hamid the island in Andaman Nicobar? NDA government of Mr. Modi. Who was the government which actually gave APJ Abdul Kalam the honor of becoming the president? The NDA government. And which was the government that has eulogized Aurangzeb and eulogized Yaqub Memon? It is the Congress party and its allies. We do not eulogize Aurangzeb and Yaqub Memon. That is the main problem for those who are the practitioners of vote bank politics.
Mr. Chaudhary, go ahead.
Christian, first and foremost, for the benefit of the viewers,
I'm coming back.
please give us equal opportunity.
Mr. Chaudhary, 1 minute and then I need to quickly go across to
It's been
Saira.
done away with in the NCERT syllabus. Are you denying that the chapter of Mughals is being done away with?
Are you equating the Mughals to Muslims? Are you one second, Saira Shah Alim, I take strong offense for you to equate Mughals, Babar, Aurangzeb and all of them to Muslims. What do the Muslims have to do with the Mughals? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Mughal descendant?
You cannot.
Saira, let's not digress. Let's not digress. And I am afraid the example you're trying to bring is not serving any purpose. Mr. Chaudhary, please quickly make your point. Mr. Chaudhary.
So you started off with, one second, you started off with Muslims being targeted. Now you're down to Mughal history being eradicated or being repositioned.
History is not
Okay, everyone, let's extend the same courtesy to everyone on the panel. Hold on, Saira, there's no point speaking over each other. Let's not do this. Let's not engage in this kind of a discussion. Mr. Chaudhary, a quick remark and then I'll go across to Saira.
It cannot be a quick one. When you have given uninterrupted time to the other fellow panelists from the RSS, then you better give me some 50% of the time. I'll quickly finish my point. When Shehzad talks about the riots that he has listed out here, you must remember 2002 was committed under Bharatiya Janata Party. 1983 Nelly massacre happened because of the instigation by their ex-prime minister from the Bharatiya Janata Party, Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
It was a precedent rule.
No,
How come the Gujarat riots are the responsibility of the CM, but none of the other riots are responsibility of those governments? This is absolutely fantastic.
Just one day after Atal Bihari Vajpayee instigated the people in Assam.
So what stopped you from preventing the riot?
The worst ever.
It was your government in the center and in the state.
Now coming to the point, Shehzad, listen to me if you have got the guts, please.
I have the guts, but you have no logic. How come a riot becomes one state, it becomes the chief minister's responsibility, in the other states, it's the responsibility of the opposition?
Such kadwa hota hai, you have cited some examples of this
kadwa nahi hota hai, aapke logic jo hai, uska koi arth nahi hai.
Now, Shehzad, just try to understand. Don't bring everywhere your Hindutva philosophy with pseudo nationalism and try to justify the violence against.
Okay, who was responsible for Muzaffarnagar riots? Who was responsible for Muzaffarnagar riots?
I'm absolutely running out of time, and you've taken away each other's time by speaking over each other. So this is not to be taken away from me, but the fact here remains that there are those, Mr. Chaudhary, who are not in India today, but they recognize the efforts that are being taken by the Prime Minister to reach out to a certain section of the community, which, by the way, people from your party are saying are under threat. They're being discriminated against. There are people like Grand Mufti, and they cannot be taken lightly, who have today endorsed the Prime Minister, gone ahead and said that he ensures pluralism and inclusivity in the country. And this after he said he is the one who's maintaining communal harmony. Those are statements that cannot be sidelined. So the Congress needs to really back itself when it comes up and makes those allegations, because it indeed is having far-reaching consequences and hampering the environment of the country. It's as simple as that. So the Congress perhaps need to do its homework better before Shehzad. No, Shehzad, we need to quickly wrap up. We're out of time, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Shalini and Saira, thank you for joining us this evening.